right now.
Because it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
But I don't mind. You just wasted some of my precious time. But don't pay the price if I'm worth.
Hi, I'm Nano Riley, and I'm here at the Players of Sarasota talking to Arlo Guthrie. Hi, Arlo.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing all right.
So, what have you been up to lately?
I've been on the road.
Been on the road. You're on the road a lot, aren't you?
Yes. We've been out since, I don't know, the end of January we hit the road, and we've got, this is the last day, actually, it caught us. Tomorrow we're off the road for a while. Except for we have a festival that we do every year over in Sebastian. That's the last thing this tour. And then we're off for a little while, and then we hit the road again. That's all we do.
You must get must feel kind of homesick once in a while, don't you?
No, the road is my home these days.
Yeah, you
it
like
has
to
been
travel.
for 20 years. So.
Yeah, you like to travel. Okay. How did you come about doing your new album full of cowboy songs, which is fabulous, by the way? I think I've listened to it, and I'm real fond of it.
Thank you. Well, about 6 years ago, we started our own record company, and like a lot of people, and I finally had the opportunity to record the kind of stuff that I liked. Whether I thought it was going to sell or not didn't matter almost. I knew we'd sell enough to pay for it, and so we started recording or thinking about doing the kinds of things that I always thought it was a shame that other people weren't doing. And singing some of these old cowboy songs was absolutely wonderful for me. I grew up listening to them and grew up listening to the people who sang them. And I waited years to do an album like this, so I'm thrilled that we were finally able to do it.
So some of those people were like Cisco Houston and Sonny Terry, and who else was in there? Did you know Leadbelly?
Well, Leadbelly died a long time ago. But I remember playing a harmonica and jumping around when I must have been around just 2 years old or something, with him sitting there. And I'll never forget it. It had a presence about him that was fairly unbelievable. Just a huge guy, huge hands, and I remember his hands. And maybe that's just because he was sitting like this, and I was a little kid, I don't remember why, but I don't remember really too much about him. But Ramblin' Jack Elliott is somebody who's been a buddy of mine since I was a little kid. And like you said, Cisco Houston, there are a lot of other people too over the years that I grew up listening to, and some of their songs I thought shouldn't have been lost just because they're not around to sing them anymore. Pete Seeger I do see occasionally. We do some shows together. We've got some coming up this summer, and I love working with him too.
Tell me about buying the church up there, and what do you have in there now? You have a center for abused children and for AIDS patients and that sort of thing?
Well, we have a center, and we work with abused kids, and we work with AIDS people, but it's not an AIDS center, and it's not an abused kids center. It's just a center for a lot of different things, including those things. We had a few people in the local community who didn't exactly know what we were doing, And had they known, probably would have been equally as vocal against us. But, you know, there's always people like that. But by and large, the whole town of Great Barrington is supporting us. We've had nothing but support from the business people in the community and the civic leaders and all those people, you know, that aren't usually in the same bed as me. A lot of social programs seem more dependent on rock and roll and country music than on the government. That's rather unfortunate, and a lot of people are put in the awkward position of having to show up for these things or know that nothing's going to happen. And a lot of people recently have just said, look, enough is enough. I can only do so much. And so we have trouble getting people to come to do shows for nothing. My dad was a illustrator. A lot of people don't know. He didn't just write songs. And he illustrated, and she wrote the music to, and they wrote the songs for, a book called Woody's 20 Grow Big Songs for little kids. And as the years went by, nothing ever happened, and no one ever remembered it existed. And it became lost. And last year it was found at Sarah Lawrence University. They were going through some old library stuff, and here was this dusty old faded original copy with my dad's original illustrations in color on this faded paper, and his typing and my mom's handwriting on the musical part of it. And we interested HarperCollins, big publisher, to put out the book. People don't really want to get scientific about it. Nobody wants to be a social scientist or a rocket scientist, but they do want to be able, I think, every once in a while just to get together, have some fun, see some good music, and know that they're doing something good. So that's what we're trying to do.
No